Chapter 5. Her Kindness. Kalea sprang up at the first ring of Mother Superior's handbell. Hospital day. She said her morning prayers, dressed in her blue kirtle with the grey novice tabard, and flew out the big green door belonging to the novices' dorm. She walked as swiftly as she could get away with, her suede slippers scuffing across the slate floor. She bypassed the laundry room on her way outside, pausing to wave at Joy. With her cloak on and hood drawn up against the chill morning air, she walked the long path through the forest toward town. The sun shone through the millions of crisp pine needles in the canopy, dappling light on the path and radiating on her skin, as if promising the return of summer heat. Her favourite thing about the convent was its forest location. The tree line hid the hump-backed old house with the steeple and coloured windows away, as well as the Sisters of Sorrow, as if by the Creator's design. They were all safe inside, though only partially cloistered. Established to protect disadvantaged girls in general, it also gave the well-functioning ones the opportunity to do work for the Creator in town, such as teaching the illiterate how to read and write, collecting donations, and helping out at the hospital to which she headed. "Good morning, sister," various townsfolk said as she walked by. She returned the greeting with her best smile. The sun washed over Tintilly more than the forest, warming her under her heavy wool cloak and tabard. The smell of fresh-baked bread greeted her as it always did when she came here on duty, though when she approached the bakery, the bread was all gone. Her stomach ached for a slice after her thin breakfast. Thinner than yesterday. Not that she could complain. Some people ate less for breakfast every day than she did. Some people ate nothing for breakfast. The squat, little plastered buildings closed in tighter the farther she went, similar in appearance to the convent. The ancient cathedral had been converted to a hospital after the new one went up. It could easily be found by following the large, pointy bell tower looming over the shorter roofs. Throughout the various alleys, she ducked under hanging laundry like when she'd led the elf out of town. She crossed the same little courtyard with the well. Pulling her hood tighter, she cut through the market square. It stood empty because today wasn't a market day, but she proceeded warily anyway. Father Liam had assured her the sanctity would protect her under its own jurisdiction, as it had already punished her for the deed. But what did that mean? What if any of the lay people found out she had banged the farmer in the face with a washing bat and aided an outlaw's escape? She quickened her pace. A stale, balmy air hit her when she walked through the hospital door, as it always did. Only once in a while could she volunteer at the hospital. She missed it in between visits. Huge windows emitted hot light, and a serenade of coughs and the raving voices of the homeless welcomed her. A long string of linen-canopied beds, stretching down the central aisle, housed the sick middle class and wealthy people who could afford them. Otherwise, dozens of people sprawled out on thin beds of straw along each wall, practically shoulder to shoulder. The hospital didn't have enough straw for everyone. Many of the hospital residents were vagrants staying for a night, elderly people and a few mentally ill. She went straight to the kitchen and swapped her cloak for an apron on the wall. "Been a while, Kalea," the cook said, twisting around as she stirred a huge pot of gruel. "Too long if you ask me. What shall I do first?" "I've already got Annika sweeping the floor. Why don't you take some breakfast out to the residents?" She began ladling out small portions into chipped clay bowls. Kalea pulled out the large wooden tray from the cupboard and placed it on the table so the cook could load it. About 12 bowls fit on the tray. "Are these portions smaller than the last time I volunteered?" The cook shrugged and placed 2 more on the tray. Donations were light this month, in both dendrea and food. "Oh," Kalea said, "why do you think that is?" "A famine's coming, according to the old folks." "I see." "Well, go on, girl." Kalea lifted the tray by its handles, now much heavier, and pushed the door open with her hip. On the other side of the door, the sultry air made her sweat. She turned to the right and lowered her tray to the people sitting on the floor, some coughing and pale, some elderly, and others scratching scabby boils on their skin.
Hey!
Kalea turned around. A middle-aged man in one of the beds had called her. Yes?
Why are you serving them? Annika always serves us first.
Sorry, but you'll have to wait. There's plenty to go around. The Creator rewards patience. What would this man say when he saw today's portions? Even the poor frowned when they received their bowls. Against the wealthy man's moaning, Kalea moved along the row of poor people, unloading her tray. Along the walk back, an elderly man's hands shook violently as he struggled to hold the spoon and get any of the gruel into his mouth. "Oh, you poor man!" Kalea knelt beside him and wiped his mouth with the corner of her apron before helping him finish the rest of the bowl. Finished with sweeping, Annika blew past Kalea and entered the kitchen. She passed her again, coming out with the next load of bowls as Kalea went in. The cook had already dished out more gruel for the third round, these more shallow than the first. Taking the new tray, Kalea resumed delivering bowls to the hungry poor folk. After that round, she collected the used bowls and took them back to the kitchen, where the cook huffed and sat down to wipe her sweaty hairline. 3 bowls waited on the table to be delivered. Kalea put the tray on the table and unloaded the dirty bowls, staring at the 3 new ones. "Do you need help with the next batch?" The cook sighed and swept her eyes right to left. "That's it. There won't be another batch." "What?" "I told you already. We were expecting a load of food from the king yesterday. Didn't show yet. I should send a letter to the bishop. They might be swayed to sanction some donations for us." "I'll tell Father Liam. He'll send a lot of us out to beg." The cook threw her apron over her shoulder. "You won't get anything out of this town." Kalea moved the 3 last bowls onto the tray and lugged them out to the main hall, without the starch her shoulders used to have. Her heart sank as she surveyed the people who'd already eaten. They could all use more. How could she ever tell the 4th person in line they wouldn't be fed today? She veered off to the other side of the hall, where no one had seen her yet. In this more open area, huge round columns supported the sky-high ceiling, and scattered people leaned against them as if they were massive trees. The hospital's priest currently made his rounds with the residents, reminding them to pray for the well-being of the hospital's donors. How could Kalea choose who got the last 3 bowls? The first answer became obvious when she spotted a small child with tattered clothing and large, dark-ringed eyes. "Here you go, little sir," she said. "May the Creator bless you." She moved on, her eyes roving around the crowd for the next hungriest-looking person. A drowsy old woman got the second bowl before Kalea moved on toward the shadowy gallery at the other end, where the sun hadn't angled yet. The dark gallery was quiet, save for a cough here and there, and empty due to the cold absence of sunlight. When Kalea's sweat made her shiver, she turned to go back into the central aisle and spotted a figure curled in the corner, who'd either frozen to death or was too sick to crawl into one of the sunbeams. She reached out to touch his shoulder. A light spread of web-like blonde hair lay over it. "Sir?" One of his hands grasped the hood covering his face. His fingernails were a chilly blue. "Are you alive?" As soon as her fingers brushed his soft leather mantle with the thin silken strands, he jerked upright, his flashing, pale blue eyes reflecting the soft light even from its odd angle. She threw up her hands and shook them. "Sorry." His eyes darted around and returned to her.
"It's all right."
His eyelids drooped again, and he rubbed them.
"I was resting my eyes, but I'll leave right now."
"Well, I should hope so. You have one of those hoods on. Do you mean to take a free breakfast away from someone more unfortunate than you?" He waved a hand.
"No, I swear. I merely needed a place to rest."
"Oh, sorry about my rudeness. I don't see a lot of mercymen in here, but I've heard about how they extort hard-working innkeepers for free food in exchange for vague promises of mercy."
"Well, I'm not that kind of mercyman, lass."
"Lass? Where are you from?"
"Nowhere. I mean, Thedir. I'm from Thedir."
"And so, something happened that caused you to decide to join the mercymen, and now you're here, handing out mercy.
Well, I give as much mercy as I can.
The smile spreading across his gaunt, weathered face made Kalea's heart burn. He lifted his head some more, revealing the black and blue bruise around his eye, typical of the mercy men. Superstition dictated respect for these zealots, but some could be so brazen as they wandered around, demanding free food or a free bed, that business people often had outbursts. "I'm glad you're not here to take advantage. It's good of you to be so modest." He leaned forward.
I'll get out of your way.
She put her hand on his shoulder. "Don't go. Here, you look hungry." She handed him the last bowl, and his eyes brightened and locked on hers.
Thank you.
Kalea smiled. "You're in the house of the Creator now, and he has more than enough mercy for everyone."
Thanks, lass. I needed that.
He spooned small amounts of gruel into his mouth slowly, as if to make it last longer. "You walked all the way from Vaudiobook?" He nodded as he swallowed.
Not in a straight line. I've been walking around for ages.
"As mercymen do, I suppose." He must have walked for years. Vaudiobook was all the way across the continent to the northeast. The bottom hems of his robes and cloak were caked with mud, though it hadn't rained lately. It hadn't rained in weeks. No snow either. He practically sat on a travel pack wedged behind him. A wrapped, cross-shaped object stuck out of the top and leaned against the wall. "Is that a sword?"
Yes, but I don't know how to use it. It belonged to my father originally.
"Was he a knight or a guard?" The mercyman leaned his head against the bricks and stared across the huge room, echoing with distant voices and coughing. His smile had long faded. His empty bowl sat on the floor.
I'm looking for my son.
"Oh, really? How old is he?"
Well, it's been 16 years since I've seen him, so he should be an adult now. In his 20s, I think.
"I hope you find him."
It might be too late. He's going to die.
"Oh my, is he sick?"
Yes, or actually he will be if not already.
She leaned forward to hear his gravelly voice better. "How do you know he's going to be sick?"
I read it in the stars.
Kalea reared her head back, tempted to ask aloud how the stars could predict anything. "The Creator decides when we die," she said instead. He smiled.
I'd like to be there for him when it happens. I owe him that much.
She reached out. "Give me your hands."
Why?
"It's important. Please." The mercyman eyed her hands before he obliged. "What's your name?"
Ibex.
His hands numbed hers on contact. "Bow your head now." He did, and she commenced her prayer. "Our Creator, please help my friend Ibex to find his son. Please be merciful and delay his son's death long enough to complete the reunion. Nonetheless, we always accept your judgment in matters of life and death. When it does happen, please accept his son and all of us into your loving embrace. Amen."
Amen.
When she raised her head again, Ibex was studying her face closely with a bemused expression. His voice withered to a whisper.
How can I repay such kindness, lass?
Kalea leaned back. "You don't repay it. You walk in the Creator's light and help others to see it with you."
I'm a mercy man. I'll remember you.
She stood up. "No need to remember me, sir." She took the empty bowl and walked away. Kalea slogged through the rest of the day at the hospital, doing dirty chores and jumping in to help the residents remember to pray for the well-being of the hospital's donors, as they were all required to do. After about the first two, she took their hands and prayed with them instead for the Creator's mercy in the face of the impending famine. Swapping her apron again for her cloak, she set out for the convent at dusk. She shot for the alleys to make the trip as fast as possible. She had spent extra time at the hospital and would soon violate her curfew. All novices and vestals were supposed to return before nightfall. Midway through one of the last alleyways, the fiery sunset at the end snuffed out wall to wall.
"Hello, love,"
someone with a gruff voice said. Kalea squinted, and her words slid out weakly. "Who are you? Father Ryam."
Don't you recognize me as no damn priest?
She looked him over for weapons or anything he could be plotting, but his form was too dark against the backlighting.
I've been looking for you.
Her heart sped up. "Oh no, are you?"
That's right, love. I'm the one you so wickedly assaulted. See what you did to my face?
She shook her head. I'm sorry. I acted completely on impulse. I suffered a moment of confusion and weakness.
I guess such a thing can be expected from you loony convent girls.
We're not loony, sir. We're...
I don't care what you are.
She swallowed, and the difficulty hurt her throat. Her voice came hoarse after all the praying she had done with the hospital residents for the oncoming famine. I did my penance. The gashes on her back throbbed now with the intensity of her heartbeat, making the events of the other day flood back into the front of her mind. The man stepped forward and she took a small step back. How did you know it was me?
I asked around a lot yesterday. Though you covered your face, the witnesses and I worked together to deduce the tall, willowy novice's identity. Though a lot of you touched-in-the-head girls come here out of the woods, there's one in particular with such a small waist and graceful arms and silky brown hair like yours.
Did you just mention my waist? She darted a look behind her. I told you, I did my penance, and the sanctity of creation will vouch for me. But what can I do to make it up to you, sir?
Kemp Heidenman is my name. I heard all that. I've been to the court yesterday, and your sanctified people did vouch for you. But I can still think of a compensation you can offer to mend things between us.
As she paced steadily backward and he closed on her, the lantern light washed over his face. His eyes were both ringed in black, turning to purple by now, and his nose leaned to the side. The air struggled loudly through his nasal passages. I'll say it again, I'm sorry, she said. It was pure impulse. Blame it on mental illness if you want. I'm sorry about the evil thing I did to you. He stepped forward again, eyes beaming wide and vacant. Another step, and he towered over her, his big, round beer belly jutting forward.
Give me a few minutes and there'll be no hard feelings.
Kalea's stomach churned. A few minutes for what? A greasy smile spread across his scratchy face. His rancid ale breath steamed out with each word he spoke. He must have drunk the whole night since yesterday's court ruling.
Look at ya.
His voice drawled and croaked.
I'm glad it was you. There's something special about you. I knew it the day you hit me and broke my nose.
I don't understand. Kalea turned and sprang the opposite way. Another person rose to a stand between her and Kemp, a familiar person with shoulders squared, fists tight, and a sturdy wide stance. Dorhen Sufferborn. He must have pushed Kemp over.
Now I get it,
Kemp said from the ground. The elf stared him down, his reflective blue-green eyes afire with rage.
You're still around, and now you want to steal my...
Dorhen placed his left hand against the wall and held it there.
I'll bet you've already had her before. The two of you meet in the shadows a lot, don't you? A loony girl like her can't grasp the law against stealing, so how could she be expected to know the decency of keeping her legs together? Must be why she helped you escape. She knows you.
Sneering, Dorhen grabbed the man by the shirt, hauled him to his feet, and slammed his right fist into his face. Kemp's cheekbone shattered as if hit by a rock. As the large man reeled on his feet, Dorhen flung rocks at his face. Kemp wailed as a pebble hit his eye. Where had the rocks come from? Kalea leapt to the side as a small section of the wall foundation spontaneously cracked where Dorhen's hand had touched. After struggling to his feet, Kemp balled his fists, tensing all the muscles in his arms. He swung. Dorhen ducked and followed through with an arcing kick, swiping his opponent's sore nose. Afterward, he slipped a deep side kick into Kemp's gut, sending him back to the ground. Before Kemp could rise again, Dorhen propelled himself forward and dropped a heel onto his groin. The man screamed and curled into a ball. Dorhen grasped his own hair in a fist for an instant, then turned back to Kalea to untie her gag and wrist ties.
I must stop or I'll kill him. Arius Medalis said never to kill. People will be here soon anyway. Come on.
No one lingered around in the next alley, so they made a wild dash, stomping feet echoing through the narrow space. This time, Dorhen led the way. Walls and objects became smears of vibrating colours in her vision. Every time she made a whimpering sound, his hand tightened around hers. As slimy as their sweating hands grew, he wouldn't let go. The frantic adrenaline kept her going. All she knew in each long minute was the memory of Kemp's breath and the hard feeling of his body crushing her against the wall. Even when she began to slow, Dorhen kept her moving at full speed. When she attempted to turn a certain corner, eager to find a guard or someone helpful, He pulled her the other way with some other plan in mind. Out of her wits, she failed to note which route they took through town. A tiny hint of relief crept over her mind when she saw the long, grassy field and line of trees on the horizon, the protective forest which housed her convent. They broke into the fields for a long, desperate sprint toward the cover of the trees. Kalea finally gave in to sobbing as they reached the forest. She tore her hand away from his and ran off in another direction.
Wait!
She ignored him. The sun sank halfway past the horizon, and a cool shadow crept over the land. She swallowed to loosen her throat, wiped her face, and chained up any more emotion wanting to pour out. Now where had she wound up? Clenching her hot eyes closed, she tried to picture which landmarks they had passed on the way out. Her memory was a tangle of fear and desperation. Her voice trembled. I don't know. She was lost, and that elf was out there, probably looking for her. She turned her head toward north and then west. Which way? She closed her eyes again as her throat tightened. Crying would help nothing.
Kalea!
She jumped and whirled to find the elf behind her. No! She yelled and took off again.
Wait, you'll get lost.
Oh no, he really is chasing me. Stay away! The sun disappeared below the horizon, leaving behind a temporary residual orange glow in the sky and making way for the approach of a cold, heavy darkness that would soon bathe the forest in its brisk essence. If she wasn't lost before, she'd complete the issue now. She ran on through the dark, dodging trees she barely saw coming. She darted in different directions in an effort to confuse him. The pine needles crunched under her feet. Surely he'd hear her from a long way off. Her panting turned into uncontrollable huffs and heaves. She pushed on until her lungs hurt. Out of nowhere, a tree clipped her shoulder, and her foot slid out from under her across the slick bed of pine needles. A sharp pain creaked in her ankle. She shut her mouth and listened. An owl hooted. No sound of the elf's footsteps. The darkness developed fully. A slight haze of moonlight lit her way. How lost could she be after her sprint? She eased up to her feet, leaning against a tree, and tried her ankle. A piercing ache darted through it. She'd have to limp the rest of the way home. Footsteps crunched behind her. She turned as a cool light expanded and glowed like a huge, soft bubble in the night. After her eyes adjusted, a figure formed behind the light. The elf again? The light emanated from a tear-shaped object dangling from his hand. The soft glow revealed his face with a gentle smile. He took a step forward. Kalea lurched, landing on her sore ankle. She moaned and nearly toppled over. Nonetheless, she limped on, trying to ignore the pain. After today, she'd asked to join a stricter convent somewhere to be a fully cloistered vestal. She couldn't take the chance of getting raped by angry laymen, or meeting some pretty elf somewhere who'd trick her into sleeping with him, like in that hideous book. She'd worked too hard for her convent, and intended to continue living in it. She owed the Creator her chastity for his mercy. "Leave me alone!" she screamed over her shoulder. The light's pursuit slacked off a bit. Each fighting step increased the distance. With persistence, she covered more ground and, miraculously, the lantern at the convent's gate winked into existence. "Oh, thank you, thank you!" Before proceeding, she glanced behind her. No more blue light. She pounded on the rough door leading into the convent's yard. Its peeling paint flaked off under her fist. She would have to take a penance for arriving so late. "It's me, it's Kalea." The door swung open with a whine.
Kalea?
Father Bersham kept watch tonight.
We were worried sick, child. Father Liam went out to fetch you at the hospital.
"I'm sorry, I got lost. I don't know how I—" He took her hands.
You're freezing. You must have taken a fright. Come inside and get warm.
She clamped her mouth shut against the flood of frazzled complaints accruing in her mind's queue. She fished for the best phrase for a moment. "I have to tell Father Liam I'm all right."
Don't concern yourself. Get in there. I'll send Father Starm to tell him you've returned.
He guided her inside with a hand on her back. She checked again for any sign of the elf's light lurking amongst the rows of trees. Only darkness remained out there. A sharp sting pulsed through her skin as Joy peeled back Kalea's bandages. They stuck to the raw gashes, and every little peel she made caused Kalea to wince. She hugged herself and clenched her teeth. She'd stripped down to her brace and bandages. The old sweat clinging to her in the chilly night air made her skin clammy. A few other novices filled the bath next to her, mixing boiling kettle water with cold buckets from the well. They darted glances toward her at every chance. The bath's heat touched her with welcoming wafts of steam. The other novices left after filling the bath, hurrying to their evening prayers. When Joy finished peeling away the bandages, Kalea took off her brace and immersed into the steamy water with a sigh. After a good dunk to wet her hair, she leaned against the side, draping her elbows over the edge. Joy dabbed her sore back with a rag to clean the gashes, before later applying the special herbal concoction they used for flagellation wounds. The tendons in Kalea's arms ached from all of Kemp's manhandling. The hot water soothed those and her stressed ankle. She closed her eyes. "I'd like to sleep the night away in this water. It'll be freezing when you wake up, and you'd be all shriveled like a little shrunken muskrat," Joy responded as she worked. Kalea giggled. "My Joy! She'll always be there to drag me back to reality." She hissed at the next dab of the cloth. "We all want to know what happened to you," Joy said. "How could you get lost?" Kalea checked to make sure they were alone in the room. A few candles were lit, illuminating the old tapestries which kept the room warm. They were woven with simple patterns of flowers and sun shapes. "Didn't you use the path to get home?" Which details should she tell? "I'm going to have to talk to Father Liam," Kalea said. "But can you keep a secret for me? Is it a confession-worthy secret?" "Not exactly. I didn't technically commit a sin, but I'm scared." "Why?" "I don't want to go out anymore." Joy stayed silent. Kalea hesitated and then said, "There's an elf out in the forest." "A what?" "An elf. I interacted with him on the day I got these lashes. He said he'd leave the area, but I met him again today. I don't know why he stayed around." She pressed her lips together. What all should she tell Joy? She wasn't obligated to talk about her sin after doing her penance, but there would be so many questions if Joy didn't hear the story. "So did you do something with the elf?" "No, it's not like that. I'll tell you." So she inhaled deeply and told her the whole story of how she had rescued the elf at the market. Joy was her best friend anyway. If anyone could know about the bad deed she had done for the elf, Joy could. And then he showed up again today. He fought Kemp for me. "What a good soul," Kalea sniffed. The room fell silent for a long time. "Indeed. Lucky he didn't leave the area, huh?" Kalea lowered her chin to her folded arms on the edge of the tub. "Do you think he rescued me today because I rescued him 2 days ago?" "Yes, I do. But the whole reason for the incident today was because I rescued him earlier. Kalea, listen. You did a good thing 2 days ago. You rescued him because the Creator wanted you to." Kalea tilted her head over her arms. "I'd hoped for that very thing. You don't need to hope. The Creator wanted him to get free, and you obliged to do his work. You took your punishment. The first act brought on another punishment in the form of an attack, but the elf was available to help you because you freed him first. And all of this was laid into the Creator's plan." Kalea lifted her head again. "You think so?" Joy's voice rose sharply. "Kalea!" She whirled around, creating a small wave in the quickly cooling water. "I'm surprised at you. How in the world could that have been hard? It was my first and easiest supposition. What would worry you so much about an elf who not only appreciated your help, but possessed enough kindness to return the favour?" Kalea's mouth opened and closed before she could push anything out. "I am being silly, aren't I?" Joy smiled and patted her shoulder. "You're overthinking it, and it's unnecessarily causing you bother. I'm shaken up after today. I don't want to go out anymore." Joy stroked her hair. "I wouldn't either. It should take a while to heal from such an experience. I shouldn't have to tell you to pray. You'll be relieved when you do, though." Kalea immersed her arms in the hot water. They needed it. Relaxing would be easier if she could lean back against the tub, but her wounds prevented it. Joy put the rag and ointment bottle down, then fetched the regular soaps so Kalea could wash herself. Halfway across the room, she bent over and expelled a few rattling coughs. "Are you all right, Joy?" Joy kept her back turned, wiping her mouth on her handkerchief. "Joy?" "Yes, I'm fine." She grabbed a cube of soap, made fresh with the convent's grown and dried herbs, and placed it on the table beside the bathtub. "You should go to see the apothecary at the hospital." "I have. He's low on a lot of supplies. He's waiting on foragers who've gone miles away to find his most valuable plants. I don't know how long it will take." Kalea reached her wet arms out, and Joy leaned into her embrace. "Poor Joy. Forget about me. I'll be praying for your health instead." "I'm not worried," Joy said. "I trust in the Creator's plan for me.